All right, welcome back to another episode of Just Jossin' Around. Today, my guest, Nick Allen.
Hello.
Thank you for saying yes.
Thanks for having me.
Sorry it took 40 years for this. I'm just kidding. I felt like I canceled like 3 times, and I was like, he's gonna slash my tires if I do it.
No, everybody loves canceled plans.
Yeah. There's nothing better than just not having to do the thing.
Yeah, well, it's perfect.
But I felt bad, but I was like, no, we're gonna follow through. I wanted to ask you. You had the show at Backswing.
Yes.
Was that over this last week or the weekend before?
A couple weeks ago.
Okay, with the Blazing Man. How'd that go?
Gary Curtis and I did. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
we've been having a lot of fun doing those shows.
I've yet to see it, and I'm very curious. I have no idea what it is or like the format of it.
There's really not one. Like we get up, Gary and I, but we're friends, and we get up and can we swear on this?
You can swear, you can do a lot.
Okay, first we'll get up and we'll fuck with each other, fuck with the crowd, whatever, and then a lot of times we'll have a comic go up and do just time in the middle.
Yeah.
So Ben Putz did about like 15-20 minutes at that show, and it kind of helps comics usually because what Gary and I are doing is very unstructured.
Yeah.
So by the time we bring that other comic up, people are like, oh, finally somebody has some actual jokes. So, yeah, we've been having a blast. And anytime we've tried to go into one of those shows planning something, they're like, oh, we'll do this. It feels forced and canned, and it doesn't work. So it's a little nerve-wracking beforehand. Because, doing stand-up shows, okay, I'll do this. Anything can happen. But you have some general idea of what you're going to do. But those shows, there's nothing.
It's just going up there riffing and just talking to people. When was the first time you guys did that show?
We did that, it would have been March, I think, because what happened was we'd had a show booked at Old Mill Lounge, a bar here in Omaha, and as it turned out, that was it ended up being the same night Creighton was in the Sweet 16. So there were like 12 people in this bar. They wouldn't turn the game off the TV. It was on in the background and shit.
Yeah.
So there weren't very many people there. Gary did his set. It went as well as it could have gone. And then during my set, he was just sitting off to the side, and I said something, and he responded to it, and the crowd laughed. And I was like, do you just want to come up here and do this? So we did that with like one mic. And we're like, that was fun. Let's do it again. So now we just do the same thing basically with 2 mics.
That's dope. I love it. I'm going to come on the 15th to the Funny Bone to check you guys out there. I will say, don't take this the wrong way, I laughed so hard at the Funny Bone flyer for it because I feel like they picked the most polished picture of Gary and then probably the oldest picture I've ever seen of you.
Really?
It made me giggle. I was like, whoever made that.
What is it? If it's us standing together, that was like
it was definitely 2 cropped images together.
Oh, nice! I don't think I've seen that. That's funny.
Really funny. Oh my gosh! But I'm very excited to see it. I will say during because there's a lot of regulars that go to the Backswing show, and during Putz's set, someone in the audience took a picture of Putz and sent it to me and was just like, missing you.
That's funny.
It felt really good to send a Putz. Yeah. Just like to knock him off his pedestal a little bit.
That's awesome. Will this be out before the 15th?
Yeah, this will come out on Friday.
Cool. Perfect. Yeah, so Gary Curtis and I were doing that show, late show at the Funny Bone in Omaha that Friday. Then that Saturday, we're going to be doing the same thing in Barleycorns in Wichita.
Heck yeah.
And then we'll be in Lincoln on Saturday, December 23rd at the Grotto.
Yep. Because I just checked your websites of dates, and we'll definitely make sure to link those and link social media so we can
thanks.
find you. So yeah, definitely.
This is very professional.
I know, it's kind of something. I like it.
Yeah.
It's really fun. So I did have a question though. So like, I feel like you've always just done your own thing as far as like shows go. Like, you always just produce your own stuff. When did that start? Like, when were you just like, I'm just gonna start taking this and doing it myself wherever?
Kind of once I had the time.
Yeah.
And if nobody else books you, you don't really have much of a choice.
It's kind of, I know. Once you make it through like the small circuit of shows, you're just like, well, now I'm just going to go whoever wants me.
Yeah, and it really, one of the first times I did that, I was sitting at the bar at the Funny Bone during hosting a show during the headliner set or whatever, and this lady who ended up being like friends with Rachel, she orders a bar. She's like, orders a Bud Light or whatever, and she's like, oh, that's a lot cheaper at my bar. So my head turns. I'm like, oh, where's your bar? Persia, Iowa. And I'd done small town shows and stuff, but I'm like, all right, let's do something there. And then radio going on Todd and Tyler really helps with that because they've got, the signals they're on have a big reach. So I do the majority of my shows in areas where I can promote them on there, and people there might be some people that have some idea who you are and come out, and then I can be home. I've got 3 kids at home, so as much as I annoy them sometimes, it's nice to be around your family.
Be there. No, that's great. No, Todd and Ty, the reach I've seen off of like shows, like, I mean, I'm just speaking from Backswing, shows that have been promoted for Backswing on there, and like the crowd turnout is always on point.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Yeah. When did you transition into like full-time stand-up? Well, I guess when did you start doing comedy? Sorry.
It was 2006. Mm-hmm. A long time ago. George Bush was president.
I was.
Does that make me sound old?
5 years old.
It's been a long time.
So.
Yeah, right? That's insane.
I know.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's been a long time. So yeah, I started doing it then. That makes me feel super old.
I'm so sorry. Once I said it, I was like, oh, God.
Right. I would have been going to Duffy's and you're going to kindergarten. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, don't think about it.
Right, I can't.
Yeah, nope. Don't
and then when I started, Duffy's was the only open mic there was.
Really?
So if anybody was doing stand-up in the area, you knew them because they were at Duffy's.
Mm-hmm. And then
it's different now.
Yeah, no, I feel like the open mic scene is solely in Omaha. I mean, there's Duffy's is still going, and there's Storm Cellar in Lincoln, but I don't know. I feel like everyone's here.
Yeah. And you live in Lincoln, right?
I live in Lincoln, like a dumbass. And I commute to Omaha almost daily.
Really?
Yeah, which I think probably, I'm waiting for maybe after winter, and I'll probably make the move back. But yeah, I don't know. This is where it's going on, I guess.
You moved to Omaha?
I don't know, though, but I like here's where
Lincoln's kind of more fun.
Lincoln is cool. Lincoln is, I love the spot I have in Lincoln, but also it's like, if I'm going to move, do I want to move back to Omaha, or do I just want to try moving?
Bounce
to another city.
Go.
Yeah. Leave.
Well, if this is something you want to do, like, that makes the most sense. Because you're going to have to do that at some point.
I know. It's, I mean, I feel like it leads me to a good question. Have you done any major moves for comedy, or you just worked out of Omaha?
I had 2 kids before I started doing stand-up.
Really?
Yeah.
So it just wasn't a...
No, it wouldn't. I'm not going to... And it wouldn't have been something where I could, like, make money. It would have been tough. And I don't know. It's just not something...
Which I feel like that's the advantage of living here, is because it's like you can figure out ways to make money and live off of doing it here. Whereas, like, I know and it's not even like I'm definitely not making a lot of money comedy wise, but I just know if I go on either coast or I go to a bigger city, I'll be in the net negative trying to do stand up. So
but there's a lot of opportunity out there.
No, you're right. All right, that's it. I'm moving to either Kansas City, Denver, or just, I don't know, Chicago. I'm getting out.
Yeah. Right?
Those are my top 3.
It makes sense. And I always feel weird about that when people have asked over the years, like, I want to do this. What do I do? I'm like, leave.
Yeah, it's also, it's just so scary too. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like also, like, my roots as far as, like, networking go are just so, like, I feel good here. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's the idea of having to start over and just be, like, no one somewhere else, which is scary. But then, I feel like once you do your time there, you look back and you're like, wow, I have grown since being. Yeah.
There's been so many people that have come through Omaha. If you end up moving somewhere, there's people you would know.
Yeah. Which is...
Or know people who know people. You'd be like, hey, keep an eye out for her.
Yeah.
Help her out. And if you do that, like, the worst thing that could happen is it's a miserable failure. Right?
Yeah, no, that's the worst. That's it. Yeah.
And then I guarantee you all this stuff in Omaha and Lincoln will be here when you get back. It might look a little different, but yeah, it's not going anywhere.
No, this is true.
It's hard to do for me. I'm not somebody that's comfortable. Like, I need to get more comfortable, like, putting myself out there on social media. And putting videos out. Like, I'm very bad at that, but trying to do this from a place like this, you have to. So I have to get over just, hating my face and my voice and all that, and be like, just putting it out.
That sucks, though. Social media is so freaking insane with, like, I mean, what that can do. I mean, people coming through the funny bone right now are people that have, like, just blown up on TikTok and have gotten a lot of success. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like social media is just a huge challenge, and most people are just outsourcing it to, like I'll pay someone else to deal with it.
Yeah, well, I'm old. Like, you grew up with this shit. I don't know. Like, what was the one? I tried to download Snapchat on my phone, and that was the one I didn't understand how it worked, because all this stuff is like, oh, it's intuitive. And I'm like, that's not my intuition at all. I have no fucking clue what's happening with this. And I'm out.
Yeah. That's what people want, like clips, reels, all that stuff. I feel like especially, I think that's why like I don't reach out to places as much, because I'm like, I just don't feel like I have like a solid social media presence on my own, where it's like, I feel like that's what people are looking for when they're booking.
Yeah, a lot of times. But
yeah. Another thing, I feel like this is kind of off topic, but on topic. I feel like you are one of these comics who you have like I've tried booking you before. You have a flat rate. You stick to it. I feel like you know your value and your worth. Whereas I feel like comics, they're like, it's either they don't ask for enough or they ask for way too much. Mm-hmm. Like $500 tickets to the CHI Arena. I don't know if you saw that, but it made me laugh.
For who?
Doc Peterson. No, so he doesn't listen to this podcast. He never will. $500 tickets for the CHI Arena, and I literally, I thought it was a prank. But yeah, no. So if you guys want to spend $500,
I do. Yeah, can you send me that link, please?
Doja Cat tickets are $42, but you can see Doc Peterson for $500.
I love that.
I just saw that again. He doesn't.
I want to start saving though. I've been wondering what to get people for Christmas.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's like, that's just, I mean, I guess respect the hustle, but how? How do you do that? How do you get into a conversation where you're like, I would like the CHI Arena?
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Oh, but where I was leading with that though was I was saying like, at what point in your career do you feel like you were like confident and like
never
asking? No. You're just like, let's see.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm just hating my job so much.
Yeah.
And then once I went up full time on the radio with Todd and Tyler, I kind of had to.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot in the mornings, and yeah, and as far as like asking for money or whatever, there's a certain amount on Friday or Saturday night. Like, there's a certain amount I have to make.
Yeah.
So I don't have to go back to the cube.
Yeah. Is that where you were doing an office job?
Yeah,
before?
I was a pharmacy technician, just like sitting in a cube. I wasn't like standing behind a counter or whatever, but yeah,
Still.
it's brutal.
Yeah. Fluorescent lighting. Is this fluorescent? No. This is nice enough.
This is a lot brighter.
Yeah. No, this doesn't count.
No.
But all right, yeah. Just I feel like there's been a few instances where I've been like asked like, okay, well, what's your budget? And I always feel like I have the worst imposter syndrome asking for a certain amount to like do something, because it's like, what are my credentials? Like, what is like what can I physically give them that's like, I deserve this?
Yeah.
So I always feel like that's hard for comics to figure out like how much they should be asking for, and yeah, and it's always an awkward conversation to bring up with other comics, because it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not talked about a lot.
Like, some of that depends on what it is.
Sure.
Like, if it's something you want to do, like, take less for it. If it's something you're going to dread and you hate it, ask for
more,
whatever.
yeah.
It is, like, that happens a lot with like corporate shows. If you don't corporate shows,
no,
they're not a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like, some people are good at them, but like, I'm not. And so whatever they want, I just ask for an amount that when I'm leaving that show not feeling good about myself, be like, at least that check is this.
Are they that bad? Is it just
They can be.
Is it like
And I'm not a dude that's like a good fit for those, really. But I'll do your party if you want to hit me up.
Yeah. That's great. I always feel like those gigs, they want to clean. I remember like one lady approached me after a show, and she was like, I like what you did, and she was like, I'd want to book you for a corporate gig. She was like, can you just do what you did, but just not dirty? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
I did lie though to her face immediately after, 'cause she was like, how much time do you have? She was like, do you have like 45 clean? And I straight face, I was like, yeah, no, I do.
Oh yeah, you always try.
I definitely, Zach was standing right behind her when it happened. I felt like he just knew too. But I just, yeah.
That's awesome. And those shows, I won't do more than half an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's something I book on my own, I won't do more than half an hour. And those other shows, you're talking about asking what you're worth. But one thing I'll do with these bars is there's a flat fee and then there's like half the flat fee, and I get $5 from whatever they charge at the door.
Yep.
Or just straight up door, because I think that way, if they some of these small towns especially don't want, they're like, our town won't pay a cover. Like if there's any cover, nobody's showing up.
Yeah.
But I think it at least shows them to be like, hey, I believe enough people are going to be here that if you don't want to put any money down at all, just give me the $10 you take at the door and we'll be set.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like when I started producing shows at Backswing, that was like something that I learned where it was like, and honestly, I think the 3 shows I did there, we made well more than, like, we made a lot at the door. And I feel like most times you do get more out from the door. I guess depending on if you're promoting it, I guess, if you're doing good promotion. Other times it's like definitely brutal. But yeah, going into like producing shows, that was like all new information to me of like, you know, getting a percentage of like, I mean, there's just so many different ways I feel like you can work a deal with a bar or a venue. Yeah. And making it. And also I feel like it depends on who you're trying to book at the show as well. Like if it's like a local lineup, I'm like, we'll take the door. We're just happy to be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like when going elsewhere and it's like costing you gas, that's when you start trying to figure out, well, what's a good asking price?
Well, it's costing you a night, and sometimes you'd open a door, you know, a complete door deal, and you'd pull up into the town, and it's like, you know, population 348 or whatever. You know that. Yeah. You're like, well, I hope, you know, most of the town is here.
Yeah. I do like those small towns, because especially when everyone goes to that bar every day, and so they're there to support and see what's going on. I will say there was I don't know. I'm speaking only from experience with Backswing, but there was this one comic who he was coming through, and we had done a deal with him where it was a flat rate, and then like the second night it was a flat rate plus whatever part of the door or whatever. The first night it was just the door, but he offered me a set amount to like feature and also to pick him up from the airport.
Nice.
And I did it. And then we're in the car, and he's like, we haven't had many pre-sales for the show. And so he starts haggling me. About and I was like, listen, I picked you up. Like, you're going to have to honor that price. It was a very awkward conversation. And do you know Ben Weber?
Yes.
He's just a sweet, sweet child in the back seat. And it was just like...
He went with you?
Yeah, he went, because I was like, I'm picking up a man that I've never met from the airport. And I offered him part of my payment to just come with me. Because I was like, I'm scared.
So you can't go down. You're already in the hall of bed.
I was like, you're affecting both of us right now. But yeah, that was one of those things where I was like... I called Corey, who's the owner of the Lincoln location. I was like, don't ever make a deal like that again and put me in the middle of it.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Rhino Flanagan's going to be there this weekend. Are you on that show?
No, I'm not. He asked me, but I was like, I'm like, I have music bingo like every day.
Nice.
Every day. So I'm not doing like barely any comedy this month. But I wanted to go check him out. I think I might be able to on the 9th.
That dude is so funny.
Is he? Yeah. Gosh, he's from, where's he from?
I know he lives in LA now.
Okay.
He might be from Carolina. I've been listening to his podcast. He has had 9 episodes out over 3 years. It's pretty funny. But one of them's like pretty recent. But he said he's like a Carolina Panthers fan. So I don't know if that's where he's from or not. But yeah, that dude's just original, funny.
Yeah. I'm excited. He's doing the show at the Omaha location for Backswing and Lincoln. So I hope those turn out good. I feel like Lincoln shows always go way better than Omaha. Sorry.
It's so much easier to get people out to shows in Lincoln.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know why.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I have my qualms with TJ, but the Omaha location, I just feel like no matter what way we've done it, it's just so awkward for comedy the way that room is built.
The way it's set up.
Yeah. It's so awkward. And so they've wanted me to do shows there, and I was like, I just don't want to. I don't know. I rarely, I mean, your shows have had good turnouts, but
some of them.
Yeah. I was like, I don't feel like dealing with that. And then also dealing with TJ. So
I always liked him. It is kind of weird though, because like the way it's set up, it does have almost like a living room feel to it.
Yeah, it's
where you're like, okay, I guess I'll just go stay into this part of the room and
it's
we'll
like
do
a
this.
hotel lobby. Mm-hmm. That's what it feels like. And also that bar is just massive. I don't know. I feel like I wish we had that bar space in Lincoln in that tap room, because I feel like we just get more people.
It is weird. The one in Lincoln's very tiny compared to the other one.
So small. But I love doing shows. The only thing that I would change about Lincoln is the lighting situation. That gets on my every last nerve is the lighting. But nowhere's perfect. It's nice to just have a place to go and do comedy.
Yeah, I've always had a lot of fun at both of those places.
Yeah. Has there ever been like gigs that you've shown up to, they just have not been prepared for comedy at all? Like,
a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of times, especially these small town bars we're going to, it's not something that they normally do.
Sure.
So we just figure out, which corner to set up in and
bring your own equipment.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I mentioned this when Tyler was on, but when we went to, it was in Grand Island, like in the middle of my set, like all the sound went out in the middle. It was, something I've never dealt with, which it's like, I don't know. I feel like a bar not being prepared can build character. How you handle that makes you better or something. I don't know. But also when we had Tyler on, we were talking about how the first gig that we did together, or at least the first gig I did with you, it was some coffee shop.
Yeah.
Was it in Valley?
I think it was in Valley.
Mm-hmm. I was so nervous. I was so anxious because I was like, there was an older crowd, and I was like, I say bad words, and then you were like, no, I'm talking about butt stuff. Don't worry about it.
Right.
That was so comforting.
Yeah, that was an odd spot because it was like a coffee shop that would like have booze.
Yeah, it was, which I think I followed them on Instagram. I think unfortunately they closed, which sucks because they were so cool. And that was like my first time doing a gig like that, where I was like, it wasn't like at the back line or at like, you know, these set places. It was just kind of like, we're here, we're going to do it.
That's where I do a lot of my shows. Yeah. Some place where you just, set the speaker up and
just rip.
That's it.
That's awesome. That's good. But I felt like, I don't know. I always was like, I was comfortable after seeing your set. I was like, all right, it's fine. Because you do a lot of like, it's not, I don't want to call it like, I don't know how not dirtier, but it's like, not all crowds. I feel like do you get a lot of pushback on your material?
Not really.
Your crowds know
every
what they're
once in a while,
for?
people are like, there's one joke that I'll do sometimes that I know people have been groaning at. it's more like, that's the only one, and I won't do it all the time. And sometimes I'll do it just to fucking hear them groan. And not everybody does, and sometimes you won't think they're gonna groan, and they groan a little. You give them shit for groaning, but it's not. I'm not like pushing it. It's not. I'm not doing like a lot of graphic. No, this is going into this, or this is that. Like, there's some bodily fluids involved, but it's not graphic.
No, true. I feel like, and also I feel like a lot of the times people are coming to the show to see you. They hear you on the radio. They know what they're in for. But I've always wondered if there's ever been people who are like, we did not know. Like, if there's ever been any kind of.
Not really.
That's good. That's great.
That's happened at like corporate shows and stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Austin was just telling the story. We had a show. It was like just before COVID. We were booked for a corporate gig, and it was for this construction company. So before the show, you always did these corporate shows. Like a lot of them will say, "Hey, don't do this. Don't say this." We did one for an insurance lady. It was like a Christian real estate company. And she was so weird. We're going to say, God damn it, she had an air horn that she was sitting up in front. And she was just going to blast the air horn if she thought we were going into something she didn't want discussed.
That's awesome.
But this construction show, so before, a lot of times they'll be like, oh, be clean, PG, PG-13, whatever. And like, I'm not going to do PG's fucking nightmare. But this, we were talking to a couple dudes in the back, and they're like, yeah, it's a construction company. Just let it go, do whatever. I'm like, oh, perfect. So I get up, and that's what I do. And I do this joke about, like, if my dad's gay. Yes. So if he would have been comfortable, like, if he would have been able to come out of the closet, I would have just been a load on some dude's back. And I do that, and then Austin, a couple of days later, gets an email from somebody at that company being like, hey, this guy's wife was really upset about that joke. So Austin had to send them an email being like, hey, sorry, Nick said he'd be a load on some dude's back. But it turns out those guys weren't even involved with the booking or anything. So the dudes that were like, yeah, go for it. I'm like, oh, cool. This is great. 'Cause then we don't have to worry about being clean. Perfect. But they were just dudes that worked there.
I also don't understand. Like, I get it. Like, maybe getting it out, being like, hey, but it's like, you already heard it. The joke, it's over.
Yeah.
And I'm still going to do that joke. That's like, I feel like, so it's like, what's the point? Except of just letting someone else know that you're upset.
It's done. Days later.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense.
No, not at all.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I've gotten the most feedback from name dropping Backswing a lot. But yeah, Backswing. 'Cause it's like, I feel like we get a very Facebook heavy crowd of just older folks. And the one show that I did there, like, after my set, like, no one was happy. No one was happy the whole time. And there was one lady, I just mean mugging me the whole time. And then afterwards, she was like, you're the same age as, like, my daughter. I just couldn't imagine, like, my daughter going up there. And I was like, well, you wish your daughter was as cool as me.
Right.
But
also, you're not her daughter.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, it was one of those things. And she felt bad for me, which I was like, God, maybe I should rework my stuff. Like, I don't want to be like a sad puppy. I want people to giggle.
Right.
But yeah, that was the only time I ever got like feedback where I was like, oh, and then this is a sidebar, but there was one time where after I did a set, there was a guy texting on his phone in front of me, and it was full text, like his screen was blown up pretty big. He was texting some girl. She's like, what are you doing? And he was like, just saw some pretty terrible comedy.
Damn.
I know. It was so funny. It was at Cigars Lounge in Lincoln. It was so good. So good. It was like right after my set too. I was like, perfect. I'm gonna keep going. But yeah, never got a strongly worded email though.
Yeah, I wish I would have seen that email. I asked Austin to forward it to me. He was like, I don't know where it's at. I don't know if he thought I was going to email them myself or what. But.
I like when there's certain comics that like I follow who will post like their mean comments and their DMs and their emails of people just being like threatening. That cracks me up.
Yeah.
It cracks me up.
My wife is good about it because I'm like, I'm going to send this back to this asshole. And she's like, why? Just stop.
Nice.
I did one recently, though. I couldn't. Sometimes I just can't help it.
Yeah.
Usually I'll just mute them. The mute button on Twitter is the best. Because if you block them, they know they're blocked.
Oh, Twitter.
But if you mute them, if they're muted, they can just send whatever into the abyss and you never see it. Fuck them.
Can I ask, what was the one that you were going back at?
It was, I posted a picture of my family on Thanksgiving. And then I was like, we were just sad. One thing I've been doing with like group pictures is, Brad Stewart.
Yeah.
Right. So after Brad's memorial thing, people are standing outside and, they took a group picture of the comics, and then comics always like, let's take a wacky picture. Well, you don't want to what am I going to stick my fucking tongue out? Like, there's no need to take a wacky picture. So let's take a sad one. So everybody took a sad one. So we've been trying to do that at holidays and shit. So when everybody, family picture, let's get a happy one and let's get a sad one. So I put this sad one up, like, we're looking, my family's great. Like, they're beautiful. So I'm like looking for something to be thankful for. And then I think Todd and Tyler might have retweeted on their page, but then some guy was like, oh, this fucking unfunny show or whatever. Like, and then I responded, I'm like, this is how you respond to a dude posting a picture of his family on Thanksgiving? I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then he came back and told me he's like, you fuck off. I'm like, you can't say the same thing I just said to you. You got to say something different.
That's like, I feel like that's definitely a bad comeback for internet beef. Because it's like, it's not happening in real life where you're like, that's the first thing that came out of my mouth. It's like, you have time to sit and think of a rebuttal.
Yeah.
And that's what you came up with.
Right. He's like, well, what about the same thing you just said? I'm like, come on.
That's an argument I would have in a Walmart parking lot.
Yeah. It doesn't feel though. Twitter, so when you mute people, like if you look at the replies on something, it'll say like, hey, somebody you've muted put something, like posted something on here, and then you can click on it and see. And every time you're like, yeah, of course I muted that asshole.
You're like,
it's never something insightful. You're like, oh, maybe I should unmute him. Never.
I feel like you're honestly one of the few people I know who's still bravely on Twitter. I'm sure that a lot of people are still on
cesspool.
Twitter. I have a Twitter account. I follow the local news and a stripper that I met. And that's
perfect.
That's it. Right. That's all that I follow.
Everybody would be better off if that's all they followed. Everybody gets 2 follows.
But yeah, I deleted it. I mean, I liked going on there for the memes and stuff, but it's just now I'm like...
Yeah, I like to see a bunch of like football information and stuff.
True.
Now they're like promoting Tucker Carlson in my shit. I'm like, come on.
I gotta keep up with him.
Yeah.
That's funny. And
but you could just mute Tucker Carlson, so it's fucking perfect. You can mute certain words on Twitter too.
To keep okay. That's actually, I guess that's not bad.
Well, it takes a lot of political shit out. So like, I don't see anything that says GOP or abortion or Trump. None of it.
That's
you can do any tweet that pops up with that word in it is just never going to be in my feed.
Shit, maybe I'll download it again.
Oh, don't.
No.
Well, okay, it's not going to get any better.
I do go back on. Lauren Vanna got me very into NBA Twitter.
Okay.
NBA Twitter is so funny to me. And so anytime there's like a headline, like when, who was it recently? Oh my gosh. He put this guy in a chokehold. What's his name?
Oh, was it Draymond Green?
Draymond Green, yes. And so I was like, I have to get on Twitter real quick. I just have to know what's being said right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was really funny.
Yeah, Twitter was great the day Henry Kissinger died. That was a big day for Twitter.
I saw things about that, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm so majorly uneducated.
We were 5 in 2006.
I don't know who that is.
He was the Secretary of State and Defense. Maybe at the same time, but like under Nixon, and he was really instrumental in like horrible shit in Vietnam and Cambodia. There's no, in a just world, that dude would not have lived to be 100 years old. He's a fucking piece of shit, but it was a great day on Twitter.
Yes.
What he did, it was relentless jokes.
I saw, I mean, from what I saw like on Instagram and stuff, it seemed like a celebration. So I was like, good. I mean, I'll figure out why we're celebrating later, but good. I'm glad he's gone. But yeah, anytime there's something crazy in the media, I do have to pop back on, see what's going on. When shit was going down with Lizzo, I had to see.
Oh, yeah.
They were brutal. That was brutal.
Yeah, she got shit on a lot.
That was just mean.
Did she recover from that?
Oh, God, I have no idea. But, I mean, I do music bingo. We still play Lizzo.
Nice.
She's not been. If you're off the playlist, then you're canceled for good. Yeah. She's still on.
Right. She's not getting the Super Bowl halftime show. No. But she's still on the music bingo.
Yeah. You have to take your L's sometimes, but she'll be fine. She'll give it a year. She'll be fine.
I think so.
Come out with a book, a documentary,
right. Her song about it.
Yeah, and everyone will bump it and be like, "We loved you the whole time."
Right.
Pull up those tweets where they were brutally body shaming her. Oh my gosh. So when you put out Alive 22, like, was that like a year ago?
Yeah.
About a year ago? Yeah. Hit number 1 on iTunes.
It did.
Which, congratulations on that. That's awesome. What did you, how long had you been working on that hour?
A long time.
Yeah.
What, fucking 15 years or
was that your first album that you put out, or you put out? Yeah.
I tried to, but I'm not good at like the technical stuff.
Yeah.
And now I guess the audio is not up to par to even like submit it to fucking Sirius. So I should have done better on that part too. But it was finally just like, I need to do this and just put it out.
Yep.
Because I tried to do a video, but that sound wasn't good. And in the video that night that I wanted to like record it, I'm like, I'll put this out. The shirt I was wearing was like way too tight. So when I left my house, my wife was with me. I'm like, is this shirt too tight? And she's like, no, it's fine. I'm like, okay. And I was kind of worried about it. I'm like, fine, whatever. Show was great. And then I get the video from it, and you can just see my tits. That's all I can see when I'm watching the video. And I'm like, I can't do anything with this. So I had the video that I would like send it to. It was like unlisted on YouTube. So I'd send it to people who are trying to book shows. Like, oh, here's this. I finally just made it public like a couple days ago. So I'm like, the jokes are bad. It's a decent show. Like, there's some weird crowd work shit at the end. Like, at the end of that, towards the end of that set, there was a dude sitting at one of those tables right up front at the Funny Bone.
Yeah.
And he, instead of like standing up and walking in between the tables to go to the bathroom, he just like scoots his ass across the stage and leaves that way. It's nuts. I've seen a lot of shows there. Yeah. It's like that's all on that video, but I don't know. I don't know promote anything. And
it would only happen when you were recording something important.
Yeah, right. I thought so, but instead it was like the fucking B cup video, and I'm like, I can't do anything with this.
Clothes on stage are just so like, I really try to keep it simple. I don't go crazy because it's like, that's when, I don't know. Pictures, I'm like, God, I can never wear that again.
Right. I'll get self-conscious about that. You like feel like my gut's a little smaller than then somebody will send a picture, you'll see something, you're like, damn it. Maybe I need to work on my posture, diet.
Everything.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I hate is when someone, because like I feel like I'm nice when I take pictures of other comics. I'll take a couple different ones, maybe consult them after and be like, hey, what do you like? I'm going to post this.
Yeah. Or wait for a punchline so the crowd's laughing instead of people just like staring at them.
People will, okay, not to just bash on, but men do take the absolute worst pictures. I did shows in KC and the comics there were taking pictures of me. Men, the worst angles. I'm in the middle of talking and they're posting it, tagging me in it.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's the worst. I'm like, I'm just gonna wear a smock on stage for I'm not doing this. But back to Alive 22. How soon did you just start working? Did you start building are you building a new hour currently?
Yeah, there's still, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 minutes of that I'm
Which I've
doing
seen
now.
I've seen your set, and there's a bunch of new stuff that I really enjoy in there.
Thanks.
And are you in a rush to like put out something else following? Or you just want to?
No, I think I need to start. I want to start putting out just more like short videos, or just putting up jokes, even if it's not part of a special or whatever, and just kind of seeing where it ends up, because I do need more material. But I think part of one thing that's been happening after doing all these Blaze and Mike shows with Gary is that I'll get up and there's sometimes I won't do like a set at some of these bar shows, especially if it's like a town I've been to recently, or if I look out and there's a bunch of familiar faces in the crowd, then I'll fucking talk to the crowd.
Yeah.
Or there's some shows you go to and you start doing jokes. You're 2-3 jokes in and they're just not into jokes.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
They just
what's going on?
Yeah. Talk to me.
Right.
Just was that Dan Cook who would just like get down on people's level and be like, why isn't this working? But yeah, no, I feel like that's good. I also feel like, are you recording your sets when you are up there with Gary?
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah, I feel like those would just make for amazing, like, I mean, just you get a bunch of clip outs from them.
Yeah, we've put a couple up.
Yeah,
Gary, he's good about like going through
and doing it.
Yeah, I don't know if he trusts me to do that. He hasn't sent me the video.
Well,
I'm probably not the dude to be trusted to go through and pull clips.
If you guys ever need someone to help with editing or
nice
pulling clips,
perfect.
Pull me.
Thanks.
But no, that's, and I feel like I don't know. I feel like that's what audience they're expecting coming to shows though now is like just crowd work. And I don't know. It's sometimes I'm just like, this is my set. It's just a one-sided conversation. Hope you can find something to like. Yeah.
I don't do like a lot of like where do you work shit like that. God, but I like if I'm talking about my kids, I want to know like does anybody have kids and think it's going well?
Yes.
Shit like that. Like, how old are your kids? My oldest son's moving out soon. And I'd really, instead of trying to, mind their occupation for a joke or whatever, a lot of it I just genuinely want to talk to somebody about their experience with that. And hopefully that leads to a joke. And if it doesn't, we'll stop talking. And
I love that. That was something that, and I've said this to Putz's face, but that was something I gave him so much shit for, was because I felt like every time I would see him get up, that was always like his, what do you do for work? What do you do for, and I was like, bro, you gotta do, and it would always segue back into the same joke, and I gave him so much shit for it. I made a little magnet on my fridge making fun of him. Then
nice.
says, what do you do for
That's
work?
commitment.
Yeah, no, I was funny. But yeah, to his whatever, he's working on it. So
good.
Yeah, no. Apparently not.
That dude's fun.
He is fun. He's a good time. I wanted to talk about your new podcast.
Yes.
Next Window, Please.
It's very special.
Yeah, I saw the promo for it, but did you do the live one with Will Doherty?
Yes.
How did that go?
It was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there were, 2-3 people in the crowd? It sounds like more, though, because it's like, It was a bigger room and people clapping, whatever. Yeah, the live one was fun. And since then, I've just done solo ones. Last night, I recorded... I don't know why I feel like it's an accomplishment, but I've done 11 in a row. On Monday. So I'm like, no, you know what? Like, I want on Mondays, this is going to be out. And I kind of had a format to it where I would talk about whatever was happening and then talk about some fast food and then do this clip. I have this guy who's convinced he's going to be regional manager someday. It's all. But then last night I just started talking about Kiss.
Yeah.
Because they just had their final show. And then I ate an edible just before I started recording. And you can tell I paused for a second. It's like 26 minutes into the thing where I just completely lose my train of thought. And I'd be like, you know what? Sorry, I was wondering when this was going to kick in. It's now. And normally I do like different segments and stuff, but I was just talking about the band. So it was kind of different yesterday. But yeah, I don't know where it'll end up or what it'll end up looking like for down the road, but I'm having a lot of fun putting it out.
That's awesome. And I feel like honestly doing a solo pod, which was like when I started this podcast, the first episode I did was with my sister, and then I did a couple just by myself. And that was one thing where I was like, God, this is like, I had fun, but then I would listen back and be like, I sound like I'm having a manic episode. That's I don't sound okay. And so I would record like a couple different things and then just pick from there and post. But yeah, 11 episodes in a row. That's impressive. That is something to be proud of, I feel like.
Well, see, there's sometimes you're like, what the fuck am I going to talk about?
Yeah.
Luckily with the key, but it's talk a lot about fast food.
Yeah.
But if I haven't gone to Amigos that week or whatever, like, what do I...
Are you just
you can't eat Arby's all the time, ranking stuff, how I feel about a Whopper. I think the initial one was like ranking the big fast food sandwiches. But then the past couple of weeks, a general overview of Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas baked goods, that kind of shit.
That's cool. Yeah, I feel like there's so much that you can do with that. And also I feel like there's so much room for like, I don't know. I'm always big on like, if we can plug local businesses and stuff, like I bet you could definitely hop in there.
Right, get some free sandwiches and shit.
I know, yes, yeah. Which is, that would be super dope. And
at some point I want to start getting guests on and stuff, but I guess I'd have to hook up another microphone. And then,
an ordeal.
But then you've got to book a guest.
Yeah.
And meet them somewhere, and it's hard. It's all just,
I think
it's
me
tough.
and you both, though, it is hard to book a guest commit, which I feel like I don't typically struggle with that, but the last couple weeks, it's been like, I double book myself. It's insane. It's dumb. But yeah, congrats. The next, this next episode, or the newest one that's out, is Just Kiss.
It's out now. Well, I talked to Claude. Tyler Walsh and I had this weird corporate gig that we did on Friday, and then the next night was a lot different. People with like kids in the crowd. So I talk about those shows, and then talk about Kiss, and then play. Every episode I've been putting up like some sort of live clip at the end. But sometimes I don't have anything decent though. So like once I put like the first track of that album on there.
Nice.
The end. For like, if people have heard it, they can turn it off. If they haven't heard it, maybe it'll lead to somebody checking it out.
Yeah. No, that's dope. Congrats on that though. I will say, a part of a segment that we do. We don't have, this is so loose. There are no segments. But sometimes we do get questions in through our Instagram account. There is one question. It's kind of, I feel like, on par with what we've been talking about. Are there any viral trends that make you mad?
There's things, I don't know if I'd call it viral trends. It pisses me off when somebody puts something and it goes, and go. It's like, fuck you.
Wait.
They'll be like, I'm looking for a restaurant to eat, take my wife out tonight, and go.
Oh,
it's like, you prick. You're just assuming that all these people are going to do that. And like I'm in some of these food review groups. Like there's like an Omaha Food Lovers, and there's one also like an uncensored one. And people will all put this. Anybody that refers to a sandwich as a Sammy, fucking that pisses me off. Or they'll be like, my hub's got this, hubs or hubby, and a food review. That kind of shit pisses me off. But
I want a list of the Facebook groups that are reviewing food in Omaha, and also making those. And the fact that there's an uncensored group is really funny to me too.
And then sometimes people try to censor in the uncensored group and feel like, I thought this was uncensored. I can't talk about this bad waiter we had or whatever.
That's great.
That and a lot of it, I just like I'm old, obviously, like we talked about. I'm like just discovering Instagram Reels. Yeah. That shit's huge. I love that.
Reels are the thing, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also I feel like I mean, stuff that we promote for this podcast like gets way more traction on Instagram than it does TikTok.
It's all weird. I don't even know how to log into my fucking TikTok.
No, it's TikTok is gonna be banned in the next 2 months or something.
I would be so relieved.
I would be,
because I'm like, I need to be doing this. But I'm like, if you could just get rid of the whole thing, like, that would help.
I would be happy if it got banned because I would get a third of my life back.
Really?
I spend way too much time.
I'll do that with Reels.
Yeah.
That's the problem. But the algorithm's so weird. It's like,
I know.
I've liked enough of that kid doing the dance. And then he's great. I've liked a bunch of those. And then I've liked a bunch of the surprise lady too.
Oh my gosh.
Like in the past 2 weeks, or the past like week and a half, I haven't seen either of those. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah. You watched them all.
Have you seen the Guess My Fart? I love to Guess My Fart.
Let's see, Guess My Fart.
Guess My Fart's like a couple. So, well, if we were sitting here and I had to fart, I'd be like, Guess My Fart. And then you'd be like, whatever. And then if I happen to have the like, so then I actually fart. Sometimes the ones that really, get a bunch of views are the ones I see are with like the people that match them. And they're shocked because you don't know what a fart's going to sound like before.
True. I guess that actually makes sense.
You can't give them a hint or anything. No. And every once in a while, the guess is just like, it's exactly what it is. It's pretty incredible.
Wow. I actually am very intrigued by that. I do want to check that out. Because, I guess when you look at someone, what do you think it would sound like? And then you just go from there.
Yeah, well, these are people that know each other.
Oh,
they'll be like couples getting into a car or whatever, and they'll just be like, surprisingly, hey, guess my fart. Sometimes like, and then the matches are amazing. But you don't know how many, outtakes there are. How many videos have they recorded where they're not matching?
Well, I think we know where your other videos went. They just are massively replaced with Guess My Fart.
Yeah, but for a while, if like the surprise would be amongst that, and I don't know what happened.
I've always felt like this is not a dig or anything, but the Instagram Reels it's like a delayed TikTok. It's like everything will pop up through TikTok, and then it'll be popular on Instagram like 2 weeks later.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Let it cycle through a couple times.
Yeah, totally.
As far as like Reels and like promoting stuff, I also heard that YouTube Shorts is kind of the move for promotion and that stuff. Like people will watch that.
We'll have to try to make some shit.
I know.
It took me an hour and a half yesterday to figure out how to pull audio from a YouTube video.
I don't even know. Oh, I wouldn't know how to do that. Like,
but Joe, I hope I didn't download something that's going to charge me like fucking $40 on my Apple account. I finally got the audio. It was through QuickTime. I'm like, I didn't even think QuickTime was still a thing.
That's what I was using to do my stuff before Hurrdat. But yeah, QuickTime's pretty cool. I still wouldn't know, especially if I had no like ownership of the video. I don't even know how I would pull. I just learned how to screen record on the laptop.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I know.
I would have no idea how to do that because you can't like swipe the corner.
It's a lot of Googling. I feel like thank God that I can Google all my problems, and also I can ask Grace.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Because I'll ask, like, I've got friends that are good at that stuff, and I'll be like, how do you do this? They'll be like, oh, you just watch a YouTube video and do that. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I don't work that way. The only time I've ever stopped doing that, there's once we were trying to hook up just like an Xbox up to an older TV. So I Googled, how do you do that? How do you hook up an Xbox to an old TV? And the kid in the video was like 11. And I'm like, I'm not watching this. That's fine. If this kid can figure it out, I'll figure it out.
That's really funny. That would piss me off.
It took me longer than it would have if I just would have watched the kid. But like, no, I think I can do this.
That's really funny. I love that. we are kind of rounding down towards the end of the episode. I want to say thank you again.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Agreeing to come on. If you want to, this is where I pass it off. Which you kind of already plugged some shows, but if there's other stuff you want to plug, where people can follow you, where people can buy your album.
Yeah, thanks. It's on my website, nixallens.com. I'm going to have some new merch up there, too. I found some of these like on-demand merch plates. I'm working on some hats that just say sandwiches just across the top, like embroidered and shit.
That's dope.
Yeah, so everything's there. I've got the link to the podcast and all the social media and everything.
I'm excited to see the merch because I've only seen the license
holder
and the koozies, I think. You do koozies.
Yeah, this on-demand thing, I think it'll all just be online. But buying t-shirts and shit, it's expensive.
It is.
If you're going to get a decent deal, you get hundreds of dollars.
That's so nice. So it's like people, they're buying through and ordering the t-shirt directly from, oh my God. Yeah, that's amazing. Because I feel like I see people buy bulk of like the merch.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're not selling it, and also it's like the amount of sizes, I don't know. There's just so many factors. And that makes it so much easier. But
totally.
We will definitely plug the website and things like that so people can.
Again, the next window, please, is the podcast. It's up on, I think, most places.
Most platforms?
There are podcasts.
Awesome.
Somebody was like, which one's going away? The Google, maybe?
Oh, Google
Yeah.
Which, if you're on Google Podcasts, I don't know. I don't know if you're...
I didn't even know it was a thing.
Same. But it's like, there's just so many other options.
Yeah, somebody had asked about it. Then I went to Google and it's like, oh, you got to put in all this coding. I'm like, I'm not a fucking programmer. I don't know how this works.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, so that, and then, I'm on with Todd and Tyler every morning.
Dope. Yes, we will plug all those things so people can find you.
Cool, thanks. This is fun.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I am looking for... did you record the live episode with Will?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was with the 4th episode.
Let's go. All right. I'm checking that out. Will cracks me up.
Yeah. He definitely knows his fast food.
Oh my, that's what made me laugh was when you posted about like just announcing the podcast, he took screenshots of his phone.
Yeah.
With all the apps of all the restaurants.
That's all it was.
That's so funny.
It was like all fast food and maybe like one gas station.
Yes.
And I was worried about him. So then I'm also like, dude, let's talk about this. The good thing though is it's not his main home screen. Like he has to swipe over once or twice to get to all the fast food apps. So that was kind of a relief. I'm like, it's still not good for you. But
yeah, I guess there's relief knowing he doesn't just open the phone and that's what he sees.
Yeah,
that's great. I'm looking forward to checking that one out. But for any listeners, please follow Nick Allen and also follow @JustJossinAround. And be sure to submit questions and, I don't know, fun things you want to see, because we'll bring it up on the podcast live. And sometimes the person I'm talking to will give a response. It's cool. All right. I think we did a podcast.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.